welcome to part 2 of the Lydon family story. Here we have a little recap of Owen's story from Owen's mum, Holly.
So Owen was born at the end of January this year, and we didn't know about his heart condition until he was 2 weeks old, and we brought him into the hospital with a swollen hand, and then I think there was a lot of panicked faces for a little while. He had his SATs weren't great, and he was breathing very fast, and they did a chest x-ray and then called in the pediatric cardiologist who did an echo, and he was diagnosed within a couple of hours with major congenital heart defect.
So we said goodbye to him Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And then we just...
And that must have been so difficult as well, handing him over.
Go for a walk. Yeah. Go outside.
So traumatic.
But we just sat...
in the room staring at
probably
each
not
other.
even talking
no,
or
we didn't
interacting.
Talk for 4 hours. No.
It's just what do you say in that moment? You
Nothing.
know? You're just waiting for a phone call or anything just to come true. To come true. And then I think they do ring sometimes, don't they? From theatre,
Sarah Holland, the liaison nurse, she rang us halfway through and she said, the thing is done. Mr. Kenny's just closing up. He's happy with what's going on.
Yeah.
So if you go down to the ward now and wait outside, he'll come out and talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just came out.
Yeah.
and said,
all good.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Placid. I know.
He was that's 4 or 5 things that worked, had to work, all worked. So he said, we bought him time.
Yeah.
Now he has to get 3 kilos. So this isn't the end. This is just
so that was staying in Dublin and getting him to the 3 kilos. Yeah.
Well, no, we were able to go back.
Oh, were you able to go? That's good.
So we can send you home after.
Yeah. So we went back to Belfast.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Because we live just
10
minutes
it's
from
good for you to be close, and you can be close to Annie then, and you had known how good Clark Clinic was from being there before, and you kind of feel safe coming and going a little bit then, don't you?
They were like, we know you can't be here 24/7, especially when you've another child at home.
Yeah, completely.
So they were like, no, you have to know that and trust that. We
have
him.
Yeah, 100%. Which is hard, because it's your small baby. If you thought about having a newborn baby, you'd never be like, I'll just leave them all the time. No, but when you're in there, it's just you have to. There's no other choice really.
They said this is going to be months.
Yeah.
So if you try to live here, you're not going to.
Yeah,
so don't
I know. And you
there.
have to. Your own mental health and self-care is so important in all of this as
well.
The
only thing I think that got us through it mainly was being able to get a night's sleep.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, if you have your rest, you're
able
to be there for both kids and each other.
Yeah.
So we used to Holly would go in during the day when I was at work, and then Holly would go home.
Yeah.
We'd go home to lift Annie from creche and then
say to her, put her to bed, and I go back in then from 7 till
I know.
Yeah.
And even I remember being up there, Dara, and you'd be working working from hospital.
Yes,
I had a lap.
Be all your equations over, and I was like, what is going on?
He was marking papers and
hospitals. I know, which is just so bizarre, but it just becomes daily routine as well, doesn't it?
And they were used to me being in there.
Yeah, it's surprising how quick you would just adjust to that life as well, which is just something that you would never think beforehand.
And the things that become normal.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
So are just bizarre.
But when did we meet you, Liz?
You texted me.
So I was going to say, obviously, when you were in Dublin, we would have probably got word that you were down, so we probably would have. I would have touched base with one of you guys and just seen, but I can't even remember what.
I think
it was
and he hadn't even gone for the flow
restrictors.
So
and you were in contact with us.
Yeah. And how did you find that support as well?
Oh my God,
that was a weight off.
Yeah, that's good.
It's oh, thank God, there's people that know.
What we're going through. And
know the emotional benefit as well,
completely.
And how to
because the nurses are doing their job on it.
Completely.
You're offering a totally different support.
Of course, and I think that obviously the nurses are so amazing and so good, but they just don't have the time to stand there chatting to you, and have big long conversations. No, because they need to look after the child. But sometimes you're on a ward, you need somebody just to talk to, as well.
Yeah, because I remember Holly, I was gone back up maybe, or I was somewhere else. And you were someone from the Heartbeat Trust rang me. She was just so lovely. I can see, like, you hear the relief in her voice, like, talking to somebody
else. And I think even meeting other parents, or as you said, the Facebook group, just knowing that there's other people out there that are going through similar, it might be the same journey that they're on, but they know, like, you're, like, how you're feeling and kind of the trauma that you've been through. You know, it's so important.
And like talking to other parents as well. On the ward makes a big difference, because you're all in the same
and
thing.
You build these relationships
all the
with
time.
people, don't you? That you would never, you know, like, you would never meet them probably in any other situation. We were
sitting outside the ICU too.
Yeah.
And a woman came out and she said, "Oh, do you mind if I sit here for a minute?" And we got chatting to her, and it turned out she was from the same town as me.
Oh, stop!
And I was like, "You're from Dungannon? What?" We're randomly meeting in Crumlin Hospital.
Oh, yeah, it's so mad, isn't it?
Sophia.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. And I was like, "What?"
Like, I know. It's so mad, and like, but it's also like, oh my God, so it kind of feels a little bit more normal then, because it's like, oh, that they're from the same town as me, like they're going through the same thing.
And then you met ones like from across the lake in Galway.
From like 20 minutes from my house.
From your house.
Yeah, because I heard them talking, and I was like,
I know.
You're not from up here. You're from down home, like, and their daughter was in for the same thing.
It's so mad.
There's people just meeting.
I know, because I think like as well, like that's it when you're down in Crumlin, like you just see people from all, because like it's from all corners of the island of Ireland, and it's just like, it's mad that it all comes together and works so well, you know, for everybody. Like it really is. It is.
And you know, you're kind of talking about, oh, you know, what does your child have? And,
I know.
You know, and you're kind of, you know, you shouldn't compare.
No,
but like,
but I think it's only natural as well, isn't it?
And it's, if there's a child worse off, you're like,
I know.
It's such a difficult.
It really is. I know.
And you know, you're trying to offer support, but you don't know anything about it.
No,
you know,
I know. You're just thrown into this life as a heart parent. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, you know, as you said, like, you don't know about heart conditions or like what, you know, everything is. And so then, obviously, Owen then I think went back to Dublin twice more after this. Didn't he?
So he
was there for 5 weeks. It took him 5 weeks to get to the 3
kilos.
And they were like, right, okay, now we can start moving him back down.
The open heart.
So that was in April.
Yeah, so we had it on the 18th of April. He had his big surgery.
Another consent talk.
I know, and especially with open heart, quite difficult. Like,
it was a longer one,
probably thinking of what he was going to kind of look like or be like when he came back from that surgery as well. I'm sure it was. It's hard to imagine. You know.
I think after the first one, like, he'd had obviously general anaesthetic for the flow restrictors to go in, and I got a big shock when I went into him afterwards, and he was still asleep from it. And I just remember it was
like 10 wires and tubes in him.
I know.
He had everything in him.
It's hard to like,
and the ventilator, and that was tough. Now,
of course,
because I'd seen that before, I was a wee bit more prepared. For after the big surgery. I wasn't prepared for the drains. I'd been told about the drains.
I know.
But they looked so
sore. I know. And when they're so small, it's just like, how?
I mean, whenever I was in the hospital with them, I winded up having a cannula in my hand.
I know.
Sore drains.
I know. And you just see how resilient they are when they're going through that, don't you? Like they, you know, obviously they're babies and they don't really know what's going on, but they don't moan and they don't give out and they just get on with it. Like, you know.
He's smiling away the whole time.
Smiling away. I know. Just being like, what are you upset for? Like,
I'm the one that should be cross here.
100%.
So it was the same thing again, really. The hardest part for me was saying goodbye to him.
Completely.
Because they were lovely. They're like, take time with him.
100%. And they let you walk down to theatres with him until a certain point.
Like, he's awake, looking back up at you, and they wheel him away.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to come back out.
Yeah, I know, and that just is so traumatizing. And I'm sure, like, looking back on that journey, it's just like you don't want to remember that part of it.
And then it's just 5 hours again.
5 hours. I know. I was just sitting there and not being able to say anything again.
A lot of word searches done.
Yeah, I know. And just trying to distract yourself in any way possible, and probably not being able to eat, not being able to drink, like just completely just like a shell of yourself, really, until you get some word that things are going okay.
Then, like, Sarah Holland phone said they're closing. Like, she'd phoned a couple of times, you know,
say things are going okay.
And then we met Mr. Noka coming out, and he said he was all fixed. And it was the best phone call
ever. I know.
To phone home.
I know.
He's all fixed.
He's all good. I know. It was probably just like the best news ever, just to know that he was coming back and that they had done what they needed to do.
I remember Dr. McCaustin saying it's quite a complicated
surgery.
There's a lot of stitching involved.
I know.
And I was like, okay, right.
Yeah.
But for me, it can be fixed. When he had the lung issue, then it was different because he had to have part of his lung removed, and that seemed so much worse to me.
Just comparing the two. I know, and it is because like I think they're just superheroes, the surgeons, like how they can go in and just do that and know that morning when they wake up, like, this is what I'm doing today, you know. And I suppose they have to have that level of just kind of like blinkers on, you know, or they probably wouldn't get out of bed. But like
he was just a problem to be solved for them.
That's it. They didn't see him,
no one to do it,
you know. They just seen the heart and just kind of, you know, they know what they need to fix, and that's just what they're going in to do.
He told us, like, before they went in, he showed us his thumb. Right, I guess I can't see it. He put his hand like that.
So it's like
just to show how small the
size of a
baby's
orange,
heart.
or smaller. God. And he put his thumbnail and said, "This is the size of Owen's hole in his heart."
Oh my god!
So it's like his thumbnail
wasn't
like
nearly this
tiny was the size of the hole.
Oh my god!
So like, I'd say 40% of his heart.
Was
the size of the hole.
Was the hole?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It was crazy.
That's so scary, like.
You're total
but he recovered well after the open heart.
He flew out of the open heart surgery.
Got one of the doctors in Clark Clinic was like, he has had a textbit recovery.
He's done so well. I know, because you never know how it's going to go, and you know, for everyone listening, obviously it doesn't all, you know, sometimes it can take like a bit of time, and you know, babies are resilient, but they have had open heart, and it takes a little bit longer.
3 days?
That's amazing.
4 days.
4 or 5 days.
He's done amazing.
After having the massive surgery.
I mean, we were in Dublin for a week.
And that's really good.
And back up to Clark Clinic.
Again. And then, as you had said kind of earlier, then Owen did have to go back for a lung surgery then. That was meant to happen in Belfast, I think, wasn't it?
So he was on high flow.
Yes.
After his heart surgery.
And
they were having difficulty getting him off it. On the Thursday, they were like, okay, he's looking good to go home. Are you ready to bring him home? So we're getting all ready to go. And then the Friday or Saturday, they were like, actually, you can't go home yet.
Yeah.
He has to go back on high flow. We're not happy with his response to being off it.
Okay.
So like, we had been prepared to go home.
I know, which is difficult as well, isn't it?
And then they were like, we don't know what's going on. Cardiovascularly or cardio-wise.
Yeah, everything seems to be working okay.
We have to bring in consultants from somewhere else.
Okay.
So they had to bring in a respiratory team to look at him.
And they thought there's like 3 lobes on your right lung.
Okay.
And they thought the middle one of his right lung looked a little overinflated.
Okay.
And they did a few tests and saw, it is. So they had to remove that middle bit of his lung.
Okay.
He had something called congenital lobar emphysema, which also the consultant respiratory team said, this is extremely rare.
Oh, for God's sake.
It was like
Owen just came out like, do you know what? I'm just going to have everything rare that's going.
We have 1 or 2 of these a year, if even that.
Oh my God, stop.
I think the amount of times we heard like, oh my God, the chances of that are like 1%. And we were like, 1%.
What else? Yeah.
So we got to the point where it was like, okay, we'd prefer to be in the top 1%.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%.
Not this rare 1%.
I know.
So we scheduled for that surgery to get basically as Holly said, the third of his lung removed.
Okay. Which is also really scary again.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
so it was a good few weeks in Clark Clinic.
Yeah. We're trying to get ready for that surgery.
For that,
and then, so he was due to have the surgery on Thursday in Belfast. Again, same procedure. Do the consent.
Sorry, can I just throw in that Clark Clinic arranged for us to get him christened?
Oh yes,
just beforehand.
Which was amazing.
It was the loveliest day. We were able, you're able to have visiting was restricted on the ward, but godparents and grandparents were allowed to come in for the christening, and they arranged like sandwiches and biscuits and
Oh,
stuff,
bless.
and we had like a little party.
Yeah,
and it was
that was just so
lovely.
special.
Yeah,
and such a nice memory to look. I wasn't there, but I think I was there in the few days
just
before.
beforehand.
Yeah, I think we got a picture and stuff with the nurses and stuff.
It was just.
When was that? The Tuesday?
That was the day before. That was the Wednesday, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And he had the surgery on the Thursday.
Oh my god, yeah. So you went back down to Dublin again for his lung surgery then.
Because they had to stop his surgery in Belfast.
Yeah, because they wanted to make sure that they had like all the
like life support.
Yeah, they said he was declining on the table, so they had to call everyone in and do a consult.
Yeah.
And then they said we have to stop.
Yeah.
Bring it to Dublin for the smoke machine. So it was back to Dublin the next day. That was the Friday. And the team was waiting for us at 6:30 on Friday evening on bank holiday weekend in June.
Oh my god.
It was a full surgical team waiting there. And they were like, okay, we're going to work.
We're going to do
I think it didn't start until like 8 o'clock on the Friday night.
Oh my god, stop.
Yeah.
And
that was Mr. McGuinness and his team.
And his team,
And like phenomenal.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Yeah. Just
the nurse were
a
like,
bank holiday weekend
as
well.
I know, a Friday night.
Because otherwise he would have been waiting.
Yeah, the whole weekend.
Until like Tuesday or something.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So they said, no, this needs done.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, Mr. McGuinness is a robot, is a machine.
Yeah,
he will work out
I've heard amazing things about him. Yeah. I know, and you just probably knew then he's in the best hands. Like, absolutely. Like.
I remember Sarah Holland was waiting for us as well in the cardiac ICU, and she was like, I was not meant to see you guys again.
I know.
Why am I seeing you?
I know.
So yeah, surgery was fine. Everything
went well.
And then we just back to Belfast again.
Now that recovery, I know we'd said the cardiac one had a textbook
quick
one.
Yeah.
And you'd said like.
Not always. Yeah.
So he didn't now after his lung procedure.
Yeah, it took
a long time for the drains to come out.
Okay.
He had.
And was he still in Dublin for those 3 weeks?
Yeah, we were in Dublin for 6 weeks that time.
God, yeah.
And that's where like the heartbeat trust really came in. Because like we're there for so much longer.
I
was gone. Holly was by herself.
Had to work.
Yeah, so. I know, which is really difficult, isn't it? But like as we said earlier, it is just juggling all those life things that kind of come into it as well. Like, you know, the mortgage still needs paid, the bills still need paid.
Exactly,
They don't stop, unfortunately, when you have a sick child, like, which they should, you know, be amazing.
Just give us a little pause.
Yeah, I know, if you could just pause it, but you know, unfortunately those things don't, and I know that we are there to offer a little bit of support, you know, at that time. Yeah,
like,
and
it was just been able not to worry about having to, if I could go down of an evening, I could drive down and go back up that night and not be like worrying how much the diesel will cost.
Yeah, completely. I know, because you going up and down that road, it's not the longest journey in the world, but it's expensive, and
it's expensive when you're there.
Yeah, it is. Like, the hospital is expensive, and as you when they're in ICU or anything like that, you can't. It's not like you can just pop out for like hours at a time or go to a shop. You need to just grab something quick, and in the hospital, but they're like it's like €8 or €9, you know, for like a sandwich. It does completely. Especially if you're there 6 weeks. And that must have been hard as well, being 6 weeks with Annie and everything like that.
I know,
as
so
well.
I would be down like during the week, and then I'd go up the weekend
trying to juggle it, and then it's hard to even see each other.
Oh,
you know,
you'd
probably have to just be like, this is, you know, shifts passing. I know, and you just know that you need to do that to get through it, you know, and this is just a moment in our life. It's really difficult.
And we didn't know, like, it was week after week, and we're like,
when is this going to end?
I remember thinking, everyone's great here, but I just want to go back to
Clark
Clinic.
Completely. I know, and I think Clark Clinic just brings this kind of like air of safety and family, and you're just there, and you kind of feel a little bit safe there. Yeah, you're comfortable. And you can pop home, as you said, you lived close, so you could pop home. You know, to see Annie. If you felt like that night you were just missing her, or she was missing you, you could just pop back, and you know, it wouldn't be a major issue. But Dublin, you know, it's not as simple as that. I know.
Yeah, we got back up eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I know. Good news.
2 weeks in Clark Clinic, 3 weeks?
No, he was only like a week.
Oh, he wasn't there for long.
Yeah, he wasn't.
And it was like,
I know.
Like, I think
go home. I know. I think I came in one day and you were just like, I think we're going home tomorrow. I was just like, what? No.
You're just back.
Because even after 5 months of like us being up there seeing you guys, it's hard as well to like. Obviously, we want you to go home so much, but you're like, oh my god, I'll miss you as well. It's the weirdest feeling, like because you just have those conversations like you know a few times a week, and you get to know, you build a relationship, and they're like, oh, you're going to be off the ward.
I know, and it's like. I know.
It's
like bittersweet.
Yeah, completely. And how was that adjustment then to getting back home? Did you find, like, obviously it's the most amazing thing ever, and just being able
to terrifying.
But you are, and especially after and having five months in a hospital setting where there's all these machines that are telling you everything that you need to know. It's kind of like a safety net.
I did not sleep that first night. I just lay in bed,
just staring at him
like, he's still breathing. Is he still breathing?
I know.
After like the first night,
the first few days,
it was so lovely. Like we cried our eyes out driving him home.
Completely. Oh my god, I'd say and so. Then, like, I'm nearly crying now.
Oh god, I just cry constantly.
I know. But it's just an amazing feeling after everything that you've been told and all the odds kind of stacked against him in a way, to just be driving him home.
Like, have a happy ending.
To be like, just must have felt like goosebumps everywhere.
Like, we are well aware that
it couldn't have
been a happy ending. And we're so appreciative that it was.
Yeah, completely.
And I think everybody was. My family, like, they come up to meet us at the door, but they were like, we're not coming in. Like,
I know, they just wanted you to know that they were there.
Our neighbours were out as well, like, to
that's so amazing. Oh my god.
It was,
you just have, I have goosebumps thinking about it now. And how has Annie adapted to being a big sister in Owen come home? I'm sure it did. Because she's probably like, oh my god, like, who is this?
Because of her diagnosis and everything.
Of course.
But like, she's fine with him.
Yeah, she's fine with him now. That's amazing.
She'll give him a kiss goodnight.
Oh, that's amazing. I know.
No, they get on fine.
That's brilliant.
And it's just like
her.
He
probably.
Jerry does like her more.
And that's it. Probably like she's playing away, and he's like, I want to be out there playing with.
She'll bounce on the chair.
It's like, he's probably laughing at her. Oh, that's so amazing, and it's just so nice, especially now you're gonna have your first Christmas back at home with all four of you, you know, and it's just so special. Like,
that's what I'm waiting for.
It's like when you're in hospital, you're thinking of all these things, you know, you're kind of like nearly wishing your life away in a way to be like, oh, I can't wait to be home, you know, and you're just like, you don't think you'll ever get there. But
for me, it was like, I was thinking of Christmas, and we have stockings, like matching ones with their names on it. And I didn't want to buy one for him.
I know.
In case
the
worst happened.
Yeah, of course.
So being able to buy that stocking.
I know. And
have it up on the fireplace.
I know. It's just another, like a milestone, and just an amazing memory to have. And so, like, I think we'll just end it there. It's been amazing. I think it's been so nice to hear your story, and I think it'll be so beneficial to other families, you know, going through it. Do you know, if they can just take a listen to this and maybe just kind of, you know, obviously every journey is so different, and we hope that you don't have to go up and down the road that much, but you know, if you do, that there's people that have been through it and know how you feel, and just we might just end on kind of like your hopes and dreams for Owen going forward and for your little family, and just I think just being home and all four of you being together is just amazing anyway. But
to be honest, like, for so long, it really was just about day to day.
Yeah, completely.
The thought of, like,
I know,
like, looking
mine was just
ahead.
normal stuff, like just like holidays,
bringing
him home to
going to the park, you know, things like that. Bringing him back
from,
to Galway. Meeting everybody down there.
And meeting his little friends. Our friends had babies around the same time. They hadn't met, obviously, because he was
amazing.
where it was. So, like, getting to meet his little friends and
all them little milestones. That's amazing.
It's so
it's just all the normal things that you wanted so bad when you're sitting in hospital.
My dad had a dream whenever he was in hospital, so obviously Annie's pre-verbal. And like, in the midst of it all, he had this dream that the kids were out the back of his house playing, and Annie ran up to him and said, Grand Owen's doing something. And like, that, like, such
completely
a small thing, but that would be
just everything.
Those two together.
Completely. And just seeing them grow together over the next years will be amazing. Well, thank you so much, Holly and Dara, for coming in today.
No problem.
I hope it wasn't too traumatic for you guys. It's been so nice talking to you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you guys.
Thank you.